Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Robmotive. Today I want to talk about the dual exhaust on the Toyota Tacoma, the Flowmaster dual exhaust that I put on. This is the final word. But first of all, why do people put dual exhaust or aftermarket exhaust on the Toyota Tacoma? And does the Flowmaster exhaust deliver? Number one, I think the obvious reason is sound. I mean, we're looking for something a little bit throatier, a little bit meaner, a little bit tougher sound on the Toyota Tacoma. Because frankly, the stock exhaust is nothing. You turn that thing on, you get a little whoosh, and that's about it. You can't hear anything. Even the TRD exhaust, the OEM or stock TRD exhaust, doesn't give you much more. You get a little bit more sound out of that, but not much at all. So you go out and you pick up some sort of a more aggressive aftermarket exhaust to try to attain that sound that you're looking for, right? Now, the gamble in that, as I've experienced myself many times, is ending up with some kind of a metallic, canny kind of sound. Something that you don't want. And then the drone. Now, drone is a very controversial topic, I think. Because you're going to hear the exhaust if you put a louder exhaust on the truck, right? Is that drone? It kind of depends. I mean, if you're driving at a steady speed down the freeway and you can constantly hear the exhaust in the background, that is a drone. That is an ongoing sound. The key there is whether or not that is annoying to you. And it is an individual thing. You know, if you don't mind it, if you like it, then I would say it's not a drone, it's just the sound of the exhaust. It only becomes a drone, the negative thing, when you don't like it. Next up, power. There is a few people out there, actually I think there's a lot of people out there that think that if you put an aftermarket exhaust on the Toyota Tacoma, it's going to give you more power. Now, it's kind of the placebo effect, I think. When you can hear the exhaust and the truck sounds meaner, you think somehow it's more powerful. You know, most of these exhausts are bolt-on catback exhausts. So they go through the catalytic converter and then they exit out through the aftermarket exhaust. You don't really get a lot of change. You don't get any change, in my experience, in power. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a change, but it's the only kind that you're going to find if you hook up to a dyno. You know, point something more powerful. Well, who cares? I mean, if you end up with, I don't know, 4, 5, 10 horsepower increase, you can't feel it in the seat. And if you can't feel it in the seat, then I would say it does not exist. I've not had an aftermarket exhaust yet that's given me any kind of noticeable power increase. So if you're doing it for that, you're probably wasting your time and your money. Fuel economy. This one I always find funny. You know, one of the biggest knocks on the Toyota Tacoma is fuel economy. And if you're sensitive to that, I would agree. I mean, it doesn't get the greatest gas mileage of trucks that are out there today, for sure. And if you put any kind of a load in it or haul with it, it's going to be even worse. You know, I'm getting somewhere in the, I don't know, 16, 15, and maybe even 17, 18 miles per gallon. But it really depends on how and where you drive. I mean, if you drive conservatively and you're on flat roads most of the time, that's where you're going to get the best gas mileage. If you're climbing up hills, it's going to decrease. If you have a heavy foot, the heavy foot syndrome, it's going to decrease as well. Obviously, the more you get on the gas, the more it's going to take to go. It doesn't do anything. I've never noticed any increase in fuel economy when I've gone to a different exhaust, and that's any exhaust, whether it be the TRD or the different aftermarkets that I've had. And I've had 2 or 3 myself. They don't really do anything as far as fuel economy. Lastly, the looks. What does it look like? Now, with the dual exhaust, obviously, you're going to get 2 tailpipes somewhere off the back. I've not seen one yet where you can get them to come straight out of the back, which is what I would love to have. I would love to have 2 pipes coming out of the back of the truck. Now, it's not to say that you couldn't fab something or have a shop come up with something. I've seen a few people that have done that, but you can't get anything that I've seen off the shelf to come out of the back. So you go off the sides like I've done here. Kind of blends in, kind of looks like it should be there because we have these little fins on the side, right? Kind of gives a nice finished look, particularly with the right size exhaust tip. I think that looks pretty good for what it is. If you go over to the other side, you have the same thing. At least Toyota gave us the fin on both sides, which goes really, really well with those exhaust tips. I like the way that, and this is very strange, the way that it spews out gases. Now, I'm not talking about the noxious gases, the greenhouse gases. I'm really talking about the vapor. For some reason, for me, I just like to see that vapor come out of the exhaust. And ideally, it would come out of the back. It's just a look that I love. And it's really, if I'm being honest, besides the sound change, one of the biggest things that I was going for, which is kind of odd because really, when you're driving the truck, you can't see the back of it. At least I hope not, unless you drive differently than I do. But you just know that it's there. It's kind of like lifting the truck. Other than sitting in the seat and being a little bit higher, when you're driving around in it, you can't see what it looks like while you're driving. You just know that it's there. And that's one of the things that the dual exhaust gives me. I know I'm exiting that vapor out of both sides, and I just think it looks really cool on a colder day. Obviously, if it's warm, you can't see it anyway. So, the Flowmaster itself, how is it doing? Do I like it? Yeah, I do like it. I like the sound. I think of the exhausts that I've had, it gives me the best sound that I can get out of a V6. That's the other thing. Don't ever put a dual exhaust or even a single aftermarket on a Toyota Tacoma and expect that you're going to get that deep, grumbly V8 sound. It's not going to happen, nor should it. I mean, it's not a V8, right? But you can get better. You can get a little bit more grumbly out of it. And I love the way that it sounds now. The only real knock that I have on this exhaust, and I just noticed this the other day, and I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see it, but if you look down in the wheel well and you're looking at the holders, the little rod right about there, and then if you go over and you check it out, I think you can see it a little bit better on the driver's side. But if you look down in here, it's kind of right there. If you can see that red holder right there is that rod. It is rusted. It's the only part of the exhaust that I can see anyway that is rusted. Don't know why, not sure why that part rusts versus anything else, but you can see it when you look down in the wheel well. It's that rusty brown look. Pretty minor ding, but I wish it hadn't have done that. Anyway, that's my final word on the Flowmaster dual exhaust for the Toyota Tacoma. I really do dig it. I think it sounds great. If you don't like to hear your exhaust, then it's probably not going to be for you because it's definitely not quiet. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. What are the reasons that you would go with an aftermarket exhaust for your Toyota Tacoma? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Robmotive Project Cars, right now, all about the Mercedes-Benz, and Robmotive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. And don't forget, click the subscribe button here too. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.